don't know. Who doesn't love a little incest?
If you remove all of the innocence from the hula hoop, it's very sexual.
I'm sweating a lot.
Well, the MVP is Uranus.
I don't need a break. I don't even have to pee.
Commonwealth, the former empire, now Commonwealth. Is it relevant? Probably not. But why not give this part a shot? Stay tuned. Here comes Uncommonwealth, the podcast.
Welcome to the Uncommonwealth podcast, and we're live. Here we are. Let's do it.
All right. I'd like to do a segment that I have titled Inbreeding and Incest in the Royal Family. Some fun examples.
Do we have a jingle?
We'll get a jingle. We'll get it. We'll commission someone for sure.
Well, I don't know. Who doesn't love a little incest?
It is the rage these days. Very trendy.
Just the royal family, they needed to keep things in tight. But I'm not just talking the British royal family. All royal dynasties have been notorious for their inbreeding. One of my favorite examples, and yes, you can have favorite inbreeding examples, is Charles II of Spain. So he ruled from 1661 to 1700. From the moment he was born, they were like, we hope this guy dies. Seriously, that was the public opinion. He was very deformed. He had a very pronounced jaw. This jaw was so common amongst the Habsburg dynasty that they actually called it the Habsburg jaw.
Is it just like a big chin? Is that what you mean?
Deformity known as mandibular prognathism. And it's some sort of recessive gene. And your lower jaw grows more than your upper jaw. And then his tongue didn't work well. So he had difficulty chewing. His tongue was sticking out and he drooled like constantly. Not that that's a bad thing. I feel like this is going to get me in trouble. So
we're pro-drool here at the Uncommonwealth podcast.
He was severely delayed. And so he breastfed until he was 5 and never received any formal education. I'm not sure why he needs to breastfeed until he's 5. So
yes, he'd like.
Who doesn't? Sorry.
Catherine, you're really opening up in this segment, sharing some quirks of yours that we weren't previously aware of.
Just an early look into your efforts as a mother coming through. I'm
like, why can't my baby breastfeed till they're 5? Anyway, so that was fun. He was so had so many deformities that he was nicknamed the Bewitched, and the general public believed that there was something, he was haunted, or there was something otherworldly. Are you Google fact checking my work right now?
I'm looking at photos of him on the internet right now, and it is special. Everybody at home immediately Google a photo of Charles II of Spain. And this was like portrait painter. Like if you painted a bad portrait of a king, you were probably going to get your head chopped off. So this is probably a flattering
That's a
portrait.
Nice version. Yeah.
That is a nice version of what he actually looks like.
It looks like someone that like boxed their whole life and just kept getting punched
a
in the
young
face.
Mike Tyson. Yeah, he sparred with a young Mike Tyson.
Just keep in mind, these are genetic deformities we're talking about here. You couldn't help it. But Catherine, are you saying because of that and because of the inbreeding, were there a lot of Spanish royals that had similar facial deformities?
Yes, so that jaw is like, you can almost trace it through the Habsburg line. So his parents to each other, they were uncle and niece.
Yeah.
Right.
Those were his parents. And so that's pretty, it's marrying your uncle for me, or marrying your niece. Yeah. That's pretty inbred.
It's okay because it's European royals. I think they're. I think they're free.
That's like the English, like throughout the English history, the royal line. There's obviously been a lot of inbreeding, but they were famously there's a lot of haemophiliacs within the English royal families because of the inbreeding. Yeah,
which means that you can't stop bleeding, right?
Yeah, your blood doesn't clot properly. But it's also why there was like a conspiracy that they were all werewolves.
Are you serious? Oh my gosh.
I like that. So did Arthur Pendragon start that one?
Could have.
One last example, which is this is in the British Empire, King George III who ruled during the American Revolution. And
I thought you were about to say during the Nixon administration.
I almost was like, don't fuck this up. But they didn't know. Only recently they figured out this was a genetic disorder, because what the two symptoms were bouts of insanity. So they thought maybe he's bipolar, and for which he was like straitjacketed.
Straitjacked, I think is how you say it.
There's a wonderful movie about it called The Madness of King George, which everyone should watch. It's really great film.
I want to watch. And so the other symptom, I guess, maybe in the movie, is that he was bluing pee. Oh, pee.
He was bluing pee? That's peeing blue.
Peeing blue.
It looked like your T-shirt.
Catherine's all excited and flushed just from the idea of all this incest chat. That's got her excited.
Flushed.
Nice. My brain is so bad. It was peeing blue. And so they thought that he could have been poisoned. And that would cause by arsenic, blue pea. But this is actually a disease, like that's a genetic disorder that they now can prove that he had. So no, he was not poisoned. He had a disease that caused him to go crazy called porphyria, and that also causes you to blue pea.
The podcast.
I guess that's me if it's quiet.
That's your cue, Piers. The moment of silence is your cue.
I thought they were just doing another mic check. Okay. So some British scientists, which is how this is related to the Commonwealth, found out that deep in the atmosphere of Uranus, it rains diamonds. So it rains diamonds on Uranus.
That was the best.
That shouldn't be so funny, but it is.
It was always thought that the extreme high pressures on Uranus would squeeze the carbon atoms in the atmosphere, which created diamond rain, but we didn't know it was true until recently. They actually created diamond rain that only naturally occurs on Uranus.
We shouldn't be laughing this much.
To create the diamond rain, scientists used a sheet of polystyrene which contains similar intense quantities of carbon, and then shocked it with extreme sound waves to recreate the high pressure of the outer planets of Uranus.
I didn't hear any of that.
Nearly every carbon atom that they created turned into a small diamond of a few nanometers wide. The scientist who did this hypothesized that the diamond rain on Uranus may be as large as 1 million carats in weight, which means that it could be 900-pound diamonds flying through the skies in Uranus.
Piers, we're going to need you to repeat all of that.
It's the way that it's the pause you put between your and anus. It's just a little bit too much.
They also think it happens on Neptune, but that's not. I figured that I'd talk about Uranus first.
Oh, God.
Oh, God.
So, to summarize, 900-pound diamond rain on Uranus was recreated by scientists in England.
I genuinely did miss most of what you said, Piers. Could you recap the key points?
They've long thought that there's diamond rain on a certain planet, and they tried to create it here on Earth, and they did so successfully by using a sheet of polystyrene which contains similar intense quantities of carbon, and then shocked it with extreme sound waves to recreate the high pressure of the planet that it happened on.
I assume that they're very small diamonds, though.
We could only create tiny little nanometer wide diamonds, but the ones on Uranus weigh 880 pounds, or 400 kilograms. So the size of a cow.
Wow.
Diamonds the size of a cow are hanging around Uranus every day, just floating around.
surely not the size of Knickers the cow, though, because that's one.
No, you don't want a diamond the size of Knickers around Uranus. That would be dangerous.
Diamonds aren't actually a rare thing at all, right? Like diamonds are no big deal.
Not.
It's just so heavily controlled.
We make them.
It was the greatest marketing campaign of all time. The De Beers company, the De Beers Diamond Company. They were the ones that created that concept of if you're gonna propose, you use a diamond ring.
They're definitely planning a secret mission to blow up Uranus.
But yeah, diamonds they're not as rare as sapphire, emerald, but they've tricked us into paying lots of money.
But one the size of a cow would be quite something.
That'd be amazing.
That'd be the Pink Panther.
I feel like they do a good job of portraying these kind of crystal formations in like Deep Impact.
Yes. Well,
Armageddon.
So this is useful because they've worked out how they can sort of make these diamonds, and they can use them on lasers and to cut things to help us here on Earth.
Because diamonds is the hardest substance on Earth, isn't it? Top of the Mohs scale, I think it's called.
There's lots of industrial uses.
Pretty tough on Uranus, too.
I'm just glad there's a planet called Ballsack.
When Pluto got kicked out, they introduced the new ninth planet, Big Dick.
Catherine, you got to say
Catherine
does
not look amused.
You need to offer up a planet to uncancel the rest of us.
It's called Alpha Labia.
Uncommon Wealth.
Alrighty, friends, time for another fun segment of Jimmy's Exotic and Wild Animals.
Yay!
Jimmy's Exotic Animals. He's Australian, so he likes animals, and his name is Jimmy.
This week I have a super fun animal that I've picked, and I want to see if you guys know what it is. This animal is the national animal of Scotland. Do you guys know
Loch Ness Monster?
Oh.
Go.
No? Good guess? No? The official national animal of Scotland is the unicorn.
What?
What?
I am not joking with you. The official national animal of Scotland is the unicorn.
Well, they do enjoy creatures that don't exist. Their biggest tourist attraction is also
But don't unicorns exist?
What?
Catherine?
Did you learn that at Harvard?
Got some bad news about unicorns and Santa for you.
Wait,
you're going to be a great mother if you believe unicorns.
I thought that I'd read that there are horses that have that.
Horses with brain tumors.
Can we cut that out?
No, Catherine, there is no such animal as the unicorn, unfortunately. What? But Piers, you're right. In Scotland, they do have a love of many of these mythical creatures, but also, like, the unicorn known as being like untamable, like essentially difficult to capture, like proud creatures. That's obviously that identifies a lot with the Scottish identity. Catherine, you're not alone in thinking that unicorns are real. It is relatively recently that we've kind of agreed they're not real. For a long period of time, people thought that they were real and they were this revered, amazing, magical animal. And they are officially the animal of Scotland. And we don't know exactly when it started. We think it's sometime between the 1300s and the 1500s. And we know that from the heraldry, like the coat of arms. And those were used to identify armies in battle or whatever it was. But the Scottish coat of arms had 2 unicorns on it. And it wasn't until 1603, which was the Union of the Crowns. That was when James VI of Scotland, he assumed the throne of England, Ireland, and Scotland as James I. And then he brought the lion. He replaced one of the unicorns on the Scottish coat of arms with a lion. So it was a unicorn and a lion to symbolize the union there. But it's pretty wild that that's their official animal. Some fun unicorn facts. Obviously not a real animal, but so...
So he's using the word facts loosely there, Jimmy?
Correct. But so apparently in his travels, Marco Polo thought that he had seen unicorns and he described them. He said that they were very ugly brutes and they're not at all.
It was just the syphilis working its way into his brain, I'm sure.
That could have been it. It wasn't that. It was that what he'd seen and identified as unicorns. He said, that's not an attractive, beautiful white horse with a flowing mane and a horn. He said it's an ugly brute. He'd actually seen rhinoceroses at the stake. And
rhinoceri, I think.
Also, in the King James version of the Old Testament, there are 9 references to unicorns.
Whoa.
And it's because of a mistranslation of a Hebrew word, which I'm sure I'll mispronounce, Re'em, R-E''em, which that word, I think it's likely is what's called an Assyrian Raimu, but it's essentially like it's an extinct species of an ox, but it kind of, I guess, looks kind of like a unicorn. But apparently the King James version includes all these references to unicorns because of that mistranslation.
See,
again, that's back to
unicorns do exist.
That's back to Catherine's segment about how powerful, men translating the sort of way they swayed the history of the planet. Just the one or two people that translated things and sort of just changed the world forever. There's that famous tapestry up in the cloisters in New York of the unicorn hunt. I don't know whether it's Scottish, but that's that really famous one up in the cloisters in New York that everyone goes to see. Depicts a unicorn hunt.
It was a thing because unicorn horn was incredibly valuable to the point where people would hunt and kill narwhals, like the whales that have a big spike on their head, and then sell them as like knockoff unicorn horns.
I just feel really disillusioned.
Is that why you're so quiet? You're really bummed out about unicorns?
The podcast.
I think it's time for 2 truths and a lie.
Hey.
Let's do 2 truths and a lie. Things that are illegal in Trinidad and Tobago. So as always, let me read all 3 things, and then you tell me which 2 are true and which is a lie. First one, it is illegal for parents to allow children over the age of 5 to be naked in the streets. Number 2, it is illegal to wash cars in public. Number 3, it is illegal to use a hula hoop in public.
Huh.
Which 2 are true and which is a lie?
If you remove all of the innocence from the hula hoop, it's very sexual. So I think that is true.
Ooh, that's such a good point, Piers.
If you remove the hula hoop from the hula hoop, it's very weird.
If you remove the sexual part of washing cars.
I mean, Dukes of Hazzard.
What would even be the rationale behind prohibition of washing a car in public? At least I can understand the naked kids and sexual hula hooping.
How do you wash a car in private?
Yeah, the thing is, I feel like it's always nice there, and you're probably it was like interfering with traffic, and they were doing it in too public of places, and people were like causing traffic jam.
Right.
Because there were naked 5-year-olds.
Wash your car on the interstate.
They all sound true to me.
No, I think the hula hooping is the lie.
Okay, so that's Catherine. Jimmy, which one did you think was the lie?
I say washing the car in public.
Okay. And Piers, did you have a...
I'm going 3 truths.
Okay.
I think you're Muellering us.
And the lie is using a hula hoop in public. No! Catherine, look at you.
She's ecstatic. Ever
nailed it.
I've forgotten it right.
You look the opposite of the way you
I still don't think I have. I still don't think I've got one.
Okay, round 2.
Oh,
again,
no.
2 truths and a lie, things that are illegal in Trinidad and Tobago. We're going again.
God.
The first thing, it is illegal to hang clotheslines in the street. Second, fortune telling is illegal. And third, it is illegal to import or own a mongoose.
No! Okay. Wait.
I'm worried that could be true. That third one. I'm worried the mongoose could be true.
I love that they made fortune telling illegal there, if that's true, because I don't know. It is kind of crazy that you're just allowed to like go. People believe that they're having their fortunes read.
There's
that's
long
good
history
for the country.
People believe in horoscopes as well, Catherine.
Yeah.
And unicorns.
Well, that's different. And unicorns different.
There's a long history of voodoo in the Caribbean, isn't there? Sort of.
Oh, that's a good point. That's a good point.
So it makes sense that they would make it illegal because it might have been just too out of control.
They should make it illegal in New York. There's like 4 fortune tellers on my block here in the East Village.
And the rents they must pay in those places.
I don't know how they can afford it.
I know how. I go there a lot. So what was the first one?
It is illegal to hang a clothesline in the street.
See, that sounds like a true one because it's like the car washing one. They don't want anything.
The mongoose one is illegal by virtue of it referencing a mongoose.
You mean not true?
Yeah, that's the lie.
Okay.
I think.
Agreed.
I just think Googling that would be difficult. So I think you're right too. I think 2 truths and a lie in that order.
Did it.
All true.
No!
All true. They're all true.
No way.
Where did you get your mongoose?
No person shall keep or have in his possession any live mongoose.
No fucking
way.
Any person who contravenes this section is liable on summary conviction to a fine of $1,000.
Wow.
No.
Did you find the source case that was, Dunstable v. Weatherbottom, 1952?
Oh, interestingly enough, it's Morton versus Trinidad and Tobago. So I don't know if you have something to say.
It's just Morton versus Tobago. Trinidad had no problem with me. We were cool.
Like the Empire, we're almost done. We hope that you've had lots of fun. Was it relevant? Probably not. But thanks for giving this part a shot. Stay tuned for the end of Uncommon Wealth. the podcast. Stay tuned for Uncommon Takes.
What were you just doing, Adam?
What?
What were you just doing?
That doesn't matter.
Okay. Adam's like, let me just close that incest porn tab.
Did Siri
You
pick
said
up
incest porn. My Siri just triggered.
Uncommon Wealth.
In Braveheart, didn't Mel Gibson ride a unicorn?
The podcast.
I don't need a break. I don't even have to pee.
What?
Look at Catherine flexing like.
What's that thing we put before the
I
whole
got this
podcast?
one
Can we
right.
put that blurb? Can that be the intro to the whole podcast? I'm ready. I don't even need to pee. Commonwealth, common.
Oh, yeah.
Uncommon Wealth. The podcast.